All right, everyone. So my name is Kate with Scotland Marketing. Today, we're going to be covering print marketing within Command. So we're going to be focusing on creating a couple of different items that you can use for print through the Command Designs applet. With that, we're going to focus on creating a flyer. So like a paper flyer, maybe for an open house or something like that that you would print out. We're also going to take a look at the listing presentation. If there's time, I like to just show you guys the buyer presentation because it is also available in the Command designs. So let's go ahead and go get started in Command. So if you're not familiar with how to access Command, which hopefully by now you are, but if not, that is going to be agent.kw.com. And it will bring you to a screen similar to what you're seeing here. Now I say similar because this home screen of Command can be customized slightly. So the information displaying on Scott's account here may differ from yours just a tad if you've gone in and customized yours in the top right corner. Um, Moving along though, the first thing we want to do is we want to head into the Designs applet of Command. So if you're not familiar with the applets over here on the left-hand side, you can hit this red and white KW. That will expand that menu bar and allow you to see what each of those icons stands for. You can also click that to close it and just hover over each of those applets. Again, we're going to be hanging out in designs a lot today. That looks kind of like a canvas with a paintbrush sitting down on top of it. So that's going to be the one we're going to focus on today. One second, we just got a couple of people join in here. Now, once we are in the designs dashboard here, this is another screen that can look different from command to command because this is going to be designs that you've previously created within your command account. So if you've never created anything in designs, you probably won't see anything here, or you may just see one or two items. From here, you can search for past designs that you've created. You can also filter those based on design type. So if you created an email, social, print, or video. You can also sort those to show you oldest to newest or newest to oldest. Now next to that sort button, you're going to have these different layout options. So currently we're seeing that as kind of like a tile option. If we were to click the other one, that's going to give us kind of a list view of all of our designs. So that's just a personal preference, how you want to view this piece of designs. Now moving right above that, we have import design and create design. Before we jump into actually creating our design, we're going to take a look at this import design button. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And we'll give it just a second here to load. Now from here, again, we're brought into My Projects. So we can go between My Projects, stock images, the templates available. First, though, before we do anything, we want to take a look at these assets, okay? And the assets are going to be different pieces of information that make creating your design a little bit more consistent, as well as a little bit faster for you to create. So you have company assets. You also have your own assets that you can add. Within the company assets, you're going to have the ones provided by Keller Williams International. So you have their color palette, their fonts that they use. You're also going to have some stock photos. They have even folders for different holidays, for different house exteriors. So you can go through all of these different folders and find stock photos. These will appear when we are actually creating our design, and we'll take a look at where to find those. You also have the company text. So this is just going to be the disclaimer or the ownership statement that each office is independently owned and operated. Now below that, you have the Keller Williams International provided logos. That's going to include Keller Williams University. You can find Red Day, luxury logos. Here in miscellaneous, you can find the NAR and Equal Housing logos, labs, and you can also find the generic Keller Williams logos. Now moving down, we have elements. These are kind of symbols or icons that you may use frequently. Let's say for today, for example, we're creating a marketing piece. We want to include our email, our phone number, our website. We don't want to type out email, phone number, website. You can use these icons next to that piece of information just to easily identify what each of those are. You can also add videos as assets as well as PDF files. KW does have the design addendum and the style guide, so you can find those here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the My Assets. So when you are getting started on creating designs, we definitely encourage you to create your assets first. Again, it just allows you to be consistent with your marketing, as well as to have that information readily available to easily pull into your designs. So when it comes to your own assets, you can create your own color palette by adding a palette. It will then allow you to select different colors. You can drag and drop, move this around. If you had a logo created for yourself and you want to pull in colors from that logo, you can always do that by using the little dropper and going and selecting that color from your logo. So you have that ability as well. I'm just grabbing some random colors here. Again, that dropper, you just kind of hover over it, select. Once you're done, you can name your palette. You can also delete it. But this again allows you to pull those colors into your images, whether it be font or shapes, anything like that. It will allow you to pull those colors in easily to your various marketing. You can also select your own fonts. So if you have specific fonts that you like or that are included in a logo or something like that, you can either upload them or search the web. Once you're searching on here, if you find one that you like, you can easily just toggle that on, hit add, and it will go ahead and add that to your fonts. Now, next is images. This is a great place for you to add your headshot or any other images you may be using on a regular basis. For example, today's class, we're creating a flyer. If we want to have a QR code created and added to our flyer to redirect them to either an open house sign-in sheet, our branded consumer app, or our branded website, we can add those QR codes straight from our assets into our design so that they can easily scan that and be redirected. Then you can also add your photo. You can even remove backgrounds directly in Command. So if you add one with a background and you want to remove it, you just hit that remove background. This one already has it gone, but it will show a bar down here usually that it's creating that, and then you'll have a new photo. Go ahead and delete that. If you're adding photos here, you're just going to simply add asset. You can download or upload those from either your computer, Dropbox, etc. Now, next we have text. Again, a great place for you to include various texts that you may be using on all of your different designs. So if you're pulling in your branded app link or you're pulling in your website or your bio, you can add those different pieces of information into your text assets to where you can easily pull those into your different designs. How about questions in the chat? How do you upload new assets? Hopefully I answered your question. If you don't have the asset button on your screen, are you under My Assets and are you on a mobile device or iPad? Because in some cases, those will give you a different screen. Moving along, I'll come back to that chat in a few minutes. We also have where you can add your own logos. So whether this is a custom logo for yourself, if you have a team and you want to add that logo, or you just want to pull in your Market Center specific logos, you can go ahead and pull those in here. Now, if you're not familiar with where to find your Market Center specific logos, that's going to be on kwconnect.com. Now from there, you'll go to resources. You're going to come down to marketing. And once that loads, we're going to click this top one that says logos and branding. And from there, we're going to scroll down just a little bit until we find a search bar right here. From here, we can go ahead and type in whatever market center we're looking for. Type in random number today. So 974, we've got Winter Park. If you just typed 97, it's going to pull any market center with a 97 in it. So just keep that in mind if you have a short market center number. You can preview your logo to make sure it's correct, and then you can go ahead and download that. Now, once I download that, it is going to give me a bunch of different color variations that I can pull in. It's not sharing the screen really quick, so let me just switch this so you guys can see that. So once I download that folder to my computer, I have a folder like this. We're going to focus on the CMYK and the black and white. If we click into those, you'll see we have some different color options. We also have some different formats. So this is a great place to come and grab all of these logos before you get started on designs. Because if you're using a red background, that generic red and gray logo may not appear very well when you're creating a piece of marketing. So we have all of these different ones. If we go back, we also have all of the black and white ones. Now these are great because again, if you have all white or all red background, that red KW is not going to show up. So using an all white or a black and gray may be a better option. So you can find all of those logos here. Now, quick little disclaimer, not every KW office is going to have all of the different color formats or variations available. It is based on your market center. Most of them will have all of these, but if you're finding yours has one or two less, it's just based on the market center and maybe what your local compliance allows. But once we have all these logos downloaded, we're going to go back to commands. And I already have one for 974, but that's okay. Let's create a new folder. I'm going to name it Winter Park today. And now I have a new folder and I can go ahead and add those logos from my computer. I'm going to just copy all of them. So I'm just clicking on my keyboard and highlighting all of them. And then we're going to hit open. Now I have 3 of them. I'm going to hit add more because I want to grab all of them before I upload. Now we're going to grab these other ones. Now I have a total of 7 files. I'm going to go ahead and upload in the bottom left. And now I have all of my color formats and options available for any piece of marketing I might be creating. No matter what background I've got, something will work. So that is how you find your market center specific logos. Now next, again, similar to KWI, you have elements. If you have any, you can also use the KW ones and maybe just change the color. If you have any videos or files, those can also be added. Videos should be usually on a public platform similar to YouTube or something like that in order for you to use them. Let's check these questions. Oh, good to go. Perfect. Does the QR, does this, some parts of the designs will allow you to create a QR code within. Otherwise, you can always reach out to our support email. I'll drop that in the chat really quickly. We are happy to create QR codes for anyone. In order for us to create those QR codes, we just need the URL, and we can get those created for you. All right, moving along, now that we are done with the assets, I'm going to go back to just command and we're going to start from just a familiar place because now we're going to go in and actually start creating our marketing. So from the home screen in command, we're going to go back to designs. And this time I'm going to select create a design instead of import. And again, we have a few options when we're creating designs. We're going to focus on this print for today. If you're interested in any of the others, you can always check out our YouTube for any of our other classes. We do cover those in other classes. Now, we're brought back into a similar place. Depending where you left off in command, it will either bring you into My Projects or it will bring you into Templates. For this portion of the class, we want to be under templates. So I'm just going to switch over to that section. Now this is giving us any Keller Williams International provided templates. So they have a ton of options. You can see that there are categories over here on the left-hand side. And if you start to click into those, you'll see that we have subcategories. And as you click in those, you'll see some templates showing up over here on the right-hand side. So for January under holiday, you'll find all of the different holidays that are in this month. If you go to February, same thing. You can find all of those holiday templates and start customizing them. For today's class, though, we're going to hang out probably in this listing section. And for the first one, we're going to create a flyer. So why don't we take a look at these open house flyers? So there's a lot of options here. Now I just want to point out this little banner at the top. This is going to allow you to filter out or filter to just the type of design you're looking for, template you're looking for. So if you're looking for social media templates, you can filter those only. If you want a door hanger, if you're looking for flyers, bifolds, postcards, etc. If you were to click on those, it's going to eliminate anything that does not fit that category. So again, we're going to focus on flyers. So we're going to take a look at this flyers letter. That is an 8.5 by 11-inch template. So there's a few options here. Now I always like to mention here, if you like a template that is for a just sold, or if you like a template that's for something else, these are just templates. You can redesign them to be whatever you would like them to be. So just a quick little disclaimer there. I like to do this one here. So we'll go ahead and just hover over this one, and we're going to hit the little use with a pencil. And when we do that, we're going to be brought into the actual We brand editor. So you should see that in the search bar. Now from here, you have the option to go back to your templates on the left-hand side. You can also view images. Now, when we're talking images, you have some categories up top. You have stock photos. Now, these are actual stock photos from the internet that are provided. You also have workspace. Now, anytime you see workspace in designs, I want you guys to think of those KWRI company assets that we were just taking a look at. Because if we click into these, you're going to see those same photos that we were seeing in those company assets. And then you should also have your assets. So this is where you could come to find yours. Same for text. You have a couple extras. You have add new text, which will apply brand new text to the top of your design. You have banners. I like to refer to them as kind of like stickers. That's what they look like to me. You can add stickers and kind of edit those. You have the KWRI assets and you have yours. Same for logos, workspace, and yours elements. You can pull stock here. These are again kind of like icons, symbols. You can add those to your design as well. And then you have the KWRI and your own. Now below that, we have KWLS. We're going to come back to this as we're creating our flyer. We also have animation. For today's class, we're not going to cover animation because when we're printing something on paper and we're going to have a physical copy of it, animation's not going to work. So animation is great if you are creating like a social piece or something like that. So we're not going to cover that. And then lastly, you have support at the bottom. Now, I also just want to mention, when we are not clicked on the actual design here in the center, our bar up top is going to be different than if we click on the photo. So as you can see, if we're clicked on anything within the design, text or photo, that banner at the top is going to change slightly. So there's some drawing shapes, frames, and text that are available when you're not clicked on the design that go away when you are. So just keep that in mind. Couple of questions real quick. When you're under the KWLS, it has different lists, different options. Oh, you mean within the templates? I'm going to come back to that question closer to the end, just so I don't have to go back, but I will come back to your question. All right, well, let's start customizing this. So down in the right, you can zoom in if it's easier for you to see and customize. Let's go ahead and get our logo swapped out first. So I want to click on my logo, and usually it will bring me into that section of the applets over here. I'm going to go ahead and go to mine, and we're going to go into Winter Park. Now, when you're hovering over these logos on the left-hand side, they're also going to have a different option if you're not clicked on a logo. So if we're not, it only has a plus sign. A plus sign is going to add a brand new logo to the top of your design. If you're clicked on the logo itself, you will get the option to replace image. It looks like a double arrow. And when you hit that replace image, it's going to put that logo into that exact same space that you had the logo already in. So a great way to not have to come in and resize it. However, if you wanted to fit that space a little better, you certainly can resize it. That's just personal preference. Now let's go ahead and grab our listing. So I'm going to click on the photo. And for this, we're going to go to the KWLS on the left-hand side. Now, once we're under the KWLS, we have listing and we have snapshots. Now, we're going to take a look at snapshots when we're doing the listing presentation. But for this one, we're going to focus on listing. I'm going to go ahead and grab this address that I like to pull. And when you're searching, you can search by address, MLS number, the KWLS ID, listing, or co-listing agent. It is going to be the fastest and easiest route to use the MLS number if you have it. We're going to go ahead and just search. And now I see these listings starting to pop up. I'm not seeing the one that I'm searching. This is why I always emphasize using that MLS number if you have it. But we're going to go ahead and grab this one here. So no big deal. I'm going to hit select. And when I find my listing, it's going to pull all of the listing details from the MLS. So it's going to have listing photos as well as all of the listing details. So anything I need for this design is going to be easily accessible. So if we start pulling our photos, let's just go ahead and swap this. Well, let's do this one. A little pretty. Again, I'm using the replace image. It's putting that photo into that exact same space. Now, if you wanted to zoom in, crop, etc., you can double click on that and adjust the photo. Once you're done and have it where you want, you just want to hit done. Now we can pull our other listing details, but first I'm going to grab another couple of photos. So we'll just grab this one here. And we'll just grab this one. Oops, I swapped it in the wrong place. Forgot to click the other photo. That would be helpful. All right, so we just swapped our photos. We're just, again, clicking on the image and using the replace photo. And now that we're done with that, we can go ahead and start grabbing our listing details. So we want to come up to listing details. One thing I like to point out when you are swapping pieces of information like text is going to replace the piece of information exactly as it is over here. So this has US dollar at the end. If I click on this and I replace, it's going to put that USD at the end. So I can either delete that or leave it. Personal preference kind of there. Let's go ahead and grab our address. Again, it's going to replace it exactly as it is over here. So you can either add the additional information that's missing or whatever. And then when we're doing beds, bath, square foot, this has multiple pieces of information in a text box. When we're down here in the bedrooms, bathrooms, etc., it just has one piece. So if we replace this, it's going to replace everything with that one item. So in some of these, it is easier to just go ahead and update that. So just keep that in mind as you're creating these. What is easiest? And I'm not sure why when I hit undo, it undid the address as well. So just sometimes it's a little silly. All right. Now we can go ahead and also grab our description. That should also be in here, property description. Now, sometimes you will find it is way too big for the space that is allowed. You can expand that box to see if it will fit. You can also adjust some of this other information. So if we want to move some of this down, I'm going to just, I'm shifting and clicking on all of that information so I can drag it all at once. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and move this to one line instead of two. There we go. Maybe size this down just 1 point, see if it helps. So again, these are templates. You can customize them and make everything fit how you'd like. You don't have to leave it exactly as it is. Now I'm gonna move my Zoom bar. Now we can go ahead and customize our information down here. So we can go ahead and grab our photo, swap that out. We can grab our name. Now, when you're typing, you can either double click and highlight and copy or edit. You can also click on that box and use the typewriter. When you're doing that, it will open a new box and allow you to type there. Once you're done, hit Save Changes. Now, this is another one. If you wanted to use your assets, it will replace all of that with one piece. So you either want to create an asset that has all of those, or you just want to manually edit this. That one's up to you. And then I'll leave the phone number. We don't really need to edit that. We'll hit Save Changes. Now, as you can see, this is a little bit longer than before, so it's pushing it into two different lines. We can, of course, just expand that text bar so it all fits. That's not a huge deal. Now, let's say we did want to add a QR code for people to scan on here. We don't have to leave this contact me for a private tour. We can kind of delete that. I'm going to move this disclaimer up under our logo. Make it just a little bit smaller to fit there. And then we're going to move this up just a smidge. All right. Now we have our design mostly done. Now, a couple other things I want to show you before we jump into the listing presentation. If you want to customize this, let's say you picked out those color palettes and you have a color scheme that you use for everything, you can change those colors. You click on that piece of information and use the color option at the top. You have library colors, but you can also click on that and find your palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the pink one. It's really easy to see when we do this. I'm gonna also color this one. We'll do this color. We're gonna switch this gray one. Let's do that one lighter. Actually, let's go darker. And again, this is not a necessary change. I just like to show you guys how much you can actually customize these. Now you can also change your font if you don't like that. You want to switch it up. You can make it gold, italic, whatever. You can change that color as well. We get questions on these dots sometimes. If you don't like this, it is just a design piece. You can delete it or move it, whatever you want. So if you don't like that, you can remove it. Last thing, we want to change this one. We'll make this one pink again. And we'll leave the rest. Now, since the rest of it's pink, I'm going to change this logo. We're going to do this one just because there's no red. Now that we are done, you guys, we can go ahead. Oh, I was going to add the QR code. I'm just going to toss this to the bottom. Now, this could be for the open house. It could be for your branded app, your website, whatever you want. That one's kind of personal preference. Okay, well, we'll leave it. Anyways, now that our design is done, there we go. Now that our design is done and creative, we can go ahead and download this. So in order to do that, you also have the option to print. I'm sorry, I always forget about that. You can print directly from Command and pay to have them printed. You can also download this. When downloading print, there's a couple of options. You have PDF standard or PDF for printing. PDF for printing is going to give you that bleed line so that you can make sure everything fits within your printing area. I'm going to leave it as PDF standard. We're going to download. Now we'll have a bar down here in the left-hand corner that's downloading that, so it'll let us know when it's done. And now we have our flyer. So we could go ahead and print this in Office. We could send it off to be printed, whatever you'd like to do. But that is customizing an open house flyer. I don't see any questions at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And once I hit done, I should be able to find my design here within my designs dashboard. I should also be able to find that when I go to my projects. So that if I made a change or if I need to go back and edit something, or if I want to just reuse this design for the next open house, I can come in here and do that. So super easy. Now, since I don't see any questions, we'll go ahead and jump into the listing presentation. So we're going to hit create design again. And again, we're going to do print. And from there, we're brought back into templates. So again, we're going to hang out in this listing one. This time, we're going to be in the listing presentation. Now, before I jump into the listing presentation, you guys, I just want to show you where you can find the buyer presentation. It is going to be under buyer and buyer presentation. It is going to be very similar to the listing presentation in how we edit it. So if you know how to edit the listing presentation, you will be fine editing the buyer presentation. So just know that they're here. There are a few options and you can go through and edit those just the same way. But we're going to click listing presentation. And as you can see, there's 5 different templates. This is just personal preference on which one you'd like to use. As you can see, these have multiple pages. It has a stack of pages up top with 9+. It's also going to start shuffling through those pages as you hover over it. When you're on a design that just has one page like we were previously, it's not going to shuffle. It also does not have that page marker that there's more than one page. So we'll just go ahead and pick one. I'm just going to go with this first one for today's class. So we're going to do the same thing, hit use. And we're brought back into that WeBrand editor. So same way we're going to edit the flyer is how we're going to edit the listing presentation. You will have additional pages down here in the right corner now. This will allow you to go between all of those pages. So you'll want to open that up. And that will allow you to see there are 29 total pages. You can go through those. You will want to go through this kind of with a fine-tooth comb. I always let everybody know that because there is information in here it's not going to apply to every person and how they run their business. So you want to make sure that it is accurate for you and what you do for clients. So if there's certain information in here that does not apply, you want to make sure to remove that. Also, you'll realize that the second page, this is instructions on how to edit this listing presentation. So you'll want to make sure that you get this one deleted. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this by hitting those 3 little dots. And we're just going to hit the delete button. It's going to prompt you, are you sure you want to delete this? And I'm going to hit yes. And give it just a second. It will take a minute. But I'm going to switch back to that first page while it does it. See if it does it. There we go. So now that page is gone. Now I'm also going to delete this first page. This is just telling you what this is. I don't feel like this is actually a piece of information that needs to be included. This is more like the front cover to me. So this is where you're going to want to start editing your listing presentation. So you'll want to make sure you go through every little piece of information on these, again, to make sure it is relevant and pertains to you and your business. So we'll go ahead and edit this name. I'm just going to put Scott on here. I know we're going to be the buyer or the seller and the agent, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and start editing this as well. Now we'll swap our photo. This is the exact same as the flyer we were on. You're going to replace, puts it in that same little space. Now you can, again, zoom in on this if you need to. Edit this information. I'm going to use the typewriter for this part. Let's go ahead and edit this email. Oh gosh, I can never type when I'm teaching, I promise. I can any other time. I'm going to leave kw.com. We'll just do 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. There we go. And we're going to hit save changes. Last thing, if you want to add your own logo, if you have one, otherwise you can delete that. You could put your QR code there instead, or just delete it and leave the other. I'm going to go ahead and add the QR code because it never hurts to have another place to send them to your website. I'll just set that right there. Go ahead and add our logo in. I'm not going to edit the address for this one. And then photo can be replaced the same way if you have a photo to attach here and use. Now we're not going to edit this entire listing presentation. We're just going to kind of go through it and take a look at each of the pages. So the second page now, since we've deleted a couple, this just kind of goes over basically an outline of what is in here. Then the next one is the property you're going to. So again, if you want to customize this, let's say you want to use your color schemes, you can come in and do that. Change that color if you want. It's kind of loud. You'll want to edit the address and the information on the property, and then put some additional information here. Again, if you have photos to add here, you'd want to do that. Now our next page has the market snapshot. Now this is a piece of information we were talking briefly about when we were in the flyer. So this is what we're going to go ahead and take a look at. So for this, I'm going to select the image. We're going to go to the KWLS, and I'm going to come over to snapshots instead. Now this time we're going to I'm going to grab a zip code here. And you can either search by neighborhood name or by postal zip code. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw in a zip code here. And we're just going to pick this top one here. Give it a second to load. Now, once it loads, you're going to see that we have some market snapshots available. There's a couple different ones. We have one that is horizontal. We have one that just has a map. There's no stats at the bottom or any information like that. There's also the one that's identical to the one on our flyer. So I'm going to go ahead and replace. Now, I just want to mention here, you cannot edit the stats within this image. So if you do not like the information that is showing, you may want to create your own market snap design and pull it into this. You could still use the map and just add the design at the bottom or the text at the bottom. That one's kind of up to you. So if you do not like the stats, you cannot manually adjust it within the snapshot. So you'd want to like add a box with the stats directly to the design or create a design and pull it in. Done. But it will pull all of those stats. Again, it pulls from, these stats pull from a few different places similar to the neighborhood nurtures that go out. So there's no way to edit that. Again, you'd want to edit all of this other information over here. If you did want to adjust your colors, we're going to put, we could then move this up, edit all of this text. Once we're done with that, we can go on to our next page. You can always pull in information from the MLS using the listing. However, if you're using information from a past listing, like photos or something, I would check with your broker in charge, market center staff to make sure that you are able to do that or have gotten permission from the past agent or anything like that. So, specifically for photos, I guess. Next sheet though, or the next page is your comparable properties. So this is where you can include some of that information about similar properties. Below that, we have your customer needs. So this is going to go over, it says visualize your dream scenario for selling. What's the one thing that has to happen to make this a dream scenario? Those kind of things. Again, you can leave this page or remove it. These are up to you. The next one talks about the process. Again, this is one you're going to want to customize. Not all real estate use attorneys, things like that. So some of this may need to be removed or you may want to add to it. If you did want to change some of those, you can always just click on them, edit the text. Boxes, you can delete one if you need to, move those around, etc. Now our next page is custom marketing. Again, this just kind of goes over the information. And then below that, finding your buyer. They used to have a KW logo, Market Center logo on every single page way back when they first brought these out. And you used to have to edit every single page, just the logo. They've kind of removed that, so it's kind of nice. Now you just have to make sure the information is accurate. So again, this one goes over your promotional assets. A lot of the things you can do within Command that are listed within these. Same for the next one, your media plan. Things you can create. So property brochures, flyers, postcards, open house emails, etc. All those, Facebook ads, social posts, things like that. It's providing you with all of the things that you can do. But again, if you're not doing some of these items, you can go ahead and delete those specific pieces. Next is strategic promotion. Coming soon campaign, just listed campaign. Are you doing these items? Are you doing something different that you need to edit these? You can go ahead and adjust those. Next is the open house strategy. So placing yard signs, open house signs, all of that good stuff. You can go through that, make sure it is set to you and what you do. It's all in the details. So are you providing eye-catching yard signs, amplified listings? Are you door knocking, mobile marketing, or mass mobile marketing? Do you have a videographer or high quality photography? Are you doing something more than this? You'll want to add those additionally. So you can either, for these, it's great if you want to copy this. If you are doing more, you can just copy and paste. And you can have the exact same text and everything. And then you can just edit those. Real experience, real expertise. So this kind of goes over stats. It allows you to put your photo and information here again. So we can go ahead and swap out Scott. I'm not going to mess with the name or anything this time. We will swap the logo really quick. Stats, if you don't have any stats yet, you can either delete this section. There's this page and the next one that go over numbers. In some cases, you can also reach out to your Market Center staff if they have office numbers that they can share for some of these, and you can use those. That is a great alternative to this. Or you can simply delete these pages and add them back in later. Credentials and awards, these are KWRI one. It does stop at 2019. We haven't seen any new ones, so hopefully they'll add some more before too long. You can also add in your own or replace these with your own. Leading the industry, so this just talks about KW some more. And then you have your portfolio of excellence. So previously sold properties or properties you've worked with. There's a few pages of those, as well as featured listings that you can add. Then we have client testimonials. So you can go ahead and add your client testimonials here. You can even add multiple pages. If you want to duplicate this page, you have more than just 3. You can duplicate that and it will add it right below. Again, deleting or adding pages can sometimes take a second. We'll give it a minute. There it goes. So now we have 2 testimonial pages. A promise to your clients. Selling safely. So this just goes over the virtual showings, things like that. Again, these are things you can either edit and customize or remove, depending on what you do in your area. The bottom line, and then you have a page for your app. So this is a great way for you to add your app link, or again, my favorite is always the app code. So you can go ahead and insert that instead if you want. We can go ahead and delete this. Make this a little bigger and put it over here. This is actually what that consumer app looks like, so it's great to have here. Then we could go ahead and add this QR code right here. And we're all set. And then the last page is just your closing. It's going to have your personal information. It doesn't have a place for a photo, which is why I love to add the frame here. So this is in the top where you have frames. Again, you need to be clicked off of the design in order to see this banner at the top with these pieces of information. If you want to select frame though, this will allow you to grab one of these shapes. I always do the circle for some reason. And then we could add Scott's photo into that perfect little circle. It's a little easier to see when you're using something that has a background, but that's okay. let's grab this one. So as you can see, it puts it in that perfect little circle, which is great because I just love the little circle for some reason. But again, you can move this around, put your name up here, whatever you want, or you can just put this down here by this. Again, it has the app codes. This is another great place if you want to use that QR code instead. I'm a big fan of these, especially on print marketing. So much easier than typing out a URL when you have print, especially those QR or those app links because they can't be customized. But that is our listing presentation. A couple more things I want to show you before we jump off of this class or get to questions. We now have the ability to download this, same as before, PDF standard or PDF for printing. Now with this one, we have multiple pages. So if there's a page you do not want to print, you can just turn that one off for the specific printing, and then you can go ahead and print these. Now, the last thing I want to show you for this listing presentation before we jump out of it is this little share button. I'm not sure about you guys. I am really bad about holding on to anything given to me that is paper. So if you give me a piece of paper, I'm probably going to lose it. My daughter's going to rip it up. Dog's going to get it, whatever. So that share option allows me to come and get a link. Now you'll want to make sure this is set to anyone with a link. There are a few other options, but you want to do anyone. If we then copy this link, we can send this in an email after our listing presentation. We can text it over to them. This allows them to have a digital booklet of that listing presentation, which in my opinion is fantastic because again, I lose everything that's paper and handed to me. This allows us to shuffle through all of that same information. We can go from page to page and view that information in a digital form. So really love that. You can also do magazine mode. We'll give it a second to load. It does say edit. They do not have the ability to edit this unless they were signed in into command, which they should not have the ability to do. They can download this again, so it's a great way for them to be able to download that in the event that, again, they misplaced it, want to save this or print it out again. This allows them to see that digitally. So great secondary option after you've had your meeting. Send over that as a digital booklet. All right, now that we are done though, we just want to hit done again. And that will be within our designs, either out here or in the My Projects, to where you can go in and make edits. If you want to create a new one for your next listing and you don't want to edit this one, you can always click those three little dots and make a copy. Let me see, I can't see it right now. I think it's down here. Duplicate. Here we go. Maybe they changed the name of it. It used to say make a copy. But it is copying that design, and then I will see a second one pop up in this same area, and I could rename that one, edit that one, and use that one for the next listing. So great option if you don't want to mess this one up. That is the end of our class. I did want to save some time for questions. So if you have any questions at all, drop those in the chat. I'm going to stop record and go through questions with you guys. So if you don't have any questions, I want to jump off. Thank you so much for coming today. If something does come up after you jump off and you want to email us, it is support@scotlandrhinemarketing.com. Have a wonderful day.